And we are back. Flint's News Talk 1470 WFNT. Dan and Sherman here with you. And Senator Ananich, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing very well. Listen, so I was spurred on. I got your press release. I got something from your office with your statement on it about your opposition to this legislation passed in the Senate. Governor's threatening to veto it. And I saw that the study from Zebra something or whatever, it says that Michigan is paying the highest insurance rates in the nation. Is that, do you accept that?
Oh, yeah, no question about it. There's no question I am in favor of working on a solution that's not both short and long term when it comes to ratepayers getting affordable insurance. At the same time, making sure that if something terrible happens to you, that you still have some assurance you're going to have care. And the problem is this bill does neither of those two things.
Well, let me ask you. So there are 12 states that have no-fault insurance and Puerto Rico, from what I understand. And none of them have this unlimited PIP coverage. Why is that?
Well, having unlimited coverage just guarantees that if something happens, the worst happens, you get covered for it, right? The other states, they either expect you to go on your health insurance company and you can coordinate, which is, that's a legitimate thing to be looking at, or it puts you on the government. It puts you on Medicaid, right? And you have to spend down, you go bankrupt many cases, and then you get sort of substantial care. I'm not even advocating that some of the proposals in this overall legislation are bad. I think we're willing to negotiate. Let me just tell you the little process of what happened, right? So we've been talking about insurance reform quite some time, right? And this year we've actually got to a place where I think there's bipartisan support to solve this problem. At least I hope that's the case, right? I hope it's not just rhetoric and
couple of Democratic senators voted for this, right?
They did, yes, yeah. No question about it. And I'll get into that in a second too. But let me tell you what happened. So Monday night at 7:00. So what they did is they introduced Senate Bill 1, which was what you call a shell bill. I mean, there's nothing in it. If you look it up.
So I mean, Senator, you're mad at them because of the process?
No, by no means. I was just going to get over I didn't know how much. If you need me to be quicker, I can just.
No, I mean, we've got
the bigger point. I think when it comes to something like a 40-year law that people are accustomed to.
Yeah.
That when you make changes to it, you should do it in the light of day. You should do it with input from both sides. Basically, my point is at 7:00 the night before, they gave the language to everybody.
Yeah.
So within less than 12 hours, about 14 hours, people had to vote on it in committee. And then an hour and a half later, they voted on the floor.
Yeah.
So very few people actually had time to digest it,
Sure.
And there was almost no input from the public.
Yeah.
And let me tell you the big problems with it, right? So there are huge savings for insurers in this, right? And then they mandate all sorts of things. So the government is mandating how much a private hospital, would pay with a private insurance company, right? So this is one level of government mandating they put in there. They still mandate that you have to have insurance. That's another component of the mandate. Then they mandated the rates at which we can buy insurance, the levels we can buy it. But when it comes to mandating that you or I actually get any form of relief, we can't do that. I don't know. And then they're making up all these numbers. You can get 80% savings, 70% savings.
Well, let me ask you.
There's no guarantee.
Do you deny that? I mean, do you think that if the unlimited coverage is no longer two questions? Do you deny? Sure. I mean, if they get rid of this mandated unlimited coverage, are you saying that's not a driver of cost for the thing? That's the first question. And the second one is, from what I understand, the fees charged by hospitals, doctors, and medical clinics would be reimbursed based on the state's workers' compensation fee schedule, which is a mandate.
Sure.
So why wouldn't you mandate it for workers' comp? Medicaid, Medicare, they mandate levels of reimbursement as well. And I mean, one of the big things people are talking about is Medicare for all. Are you saying that wouldn't have mandated price? They wouldn't say we're not paying more than this for these procedures? I mean, that's going to happen,
no,
right?
I think you're missing the point I'm making, Dan. I'm not suggesting that we don't enact a fee schedule. I'm not saying that is wrong or right. I'm saying if you're going to keep mandating things, at the very least, we should be making sure that there's short and long-term savings, and there's ways to do that guarantees that the ratepayer actually gets the benefit. Right now, this bill was 100% written for the insurance company with the idea that we hope that they're going to give us savings. Well, I don't think if you're going to dramatically change an insurance system that you should hope that we get savings out of it. There's no question it'll drive down the cost of the insurance company. But there's nothing that says that they won't just put that in their pockets. The point is, I think no one has asked me, hey, you know what? Insurance companies are really struggling in Michigan. Let's make sure we help them out, and hopefully they'll give us some rate reduction. The people that complain, that call into your show, that talk to the neighbors all across the state, They want relief for themselves. And if you're going to mandate all these other things, which I'm not against necessarily, we should also make sure that there are serious.
So you're saying, so what you want to do is to tell to mandate to the insurance companies how much they can charge. That's your solution?
I think that's part of the solution. I think that making sure that there are serious rate reductions. Let's just say you give millions of savings to the insurance companies, and they give you a 10% rate reduction for 1 year, and our insurance rate's the same price next year. Think people are going to be happy about that? I don't think they will be.
Well, let me ask you this.
I don't think they should be.
Do you think that if somebody, so from what I understand, they've got a tiered system for the PIP, and then it starts as low as $50,000.
There's an opt-out option that you can opt out.
There's an opt-out. You can opt out completely. And if you've already got this paid for, why should you have to pay for it again? Like if you're paying for coverage, if you've got health insurance that's going to cover you if you have an accident, why would you ever want to pay for it? Why would you ever want to pay for it through your auto insurance as well? And if you aren't paying for that, you're saying the auto insurers are not going to try and get those people by offering them rate reductions? You don't think the market will work in this case?
Well, it's not a free market system. You just laid out a bunch of reasons why it's not a free market system. If the government mandates a fee schedule, it's not a free market system. If the government mandates that you have to have something, it's not a free market system.
Well, you still have multiple. No, I mean there's still a mandate, absolutely, but you still have a variety of. You still have a variety.
They actually, I don't. Dan, I'll say this: I don't trust them.
Okay.
Maybe you do, and maybe that's fine. I mean,
well,
I think that there will be. I don't
think it's.
Telling you, if you're going to have dramatic savings in what the cost of the insurance side, there should be dramatic savings for ratepayers.
So, but are you saying that there's still going to be a mandate, but you still have multiple? You've got all kinds of people. I mean, we switched to insurance. I don't know, a year and a half ago, and saved pretty significantly when we did that. So we've got a competitive market, and
already.
And you're saying that if people. So, but you're saying that people so the cost of insurance is going to go down for people. You admit that the cost of insurance will go down if they don't have to have this mandated coverage, and then you're going to have
insurance companies for sure.
Right, exactly, and then the insurance companies are going to have to compete for that business at that lower rate, which should bring the price down. Are you saying the market won't work there?
I'm saying that we should make sure that the market works. If we're going to regulate it in other areas, like how much the cost an insurer has to get paid from a hospital or a provider, we should grease the landing at least, provide a pathway to make sure that it gets in the pockets of ratepayers, right? Because what says if you're paying $4,000 or $5,000, or some people are in some of these communities, why not make sure that they actually, if it's about making sure people in Michigan have insurance because there's an uninsured problem,
very big problem.
Some people can't afford it.
1 in 5 drivers don't have insurance.
Make sure.
Yeah. No,
a lot of drivers don't have insurance. No question about it. So I'm saying we should come up with a compromise that doesn't just do everything for the insurers, to make sure that they are squeezing everybody. Right? If you're going to squeeze hospitals, if you're going to squeeze.
How are the hospitals?
Providers.
How are the hospitals being squeezed if you're going to reimburse them at the same rate that workers' comp does? How is that squeezing the hospital?
Because they have a free market system now where they can negotiate with the insurance company. If we're saying it's going to be lower than that, that's squeezing them.
So, but
I don't have a problem with saying that they can't. I'm not saying that we can't have a fee structure. I'm just saying if we're going to put in a bunch of regulations into this market, if it's going to be a regulated market, we should make sure it's regulated for insurance for ratepayers.
All right, let me.
That's the only thing I'm saying is if we're looking at putting in lanes to make sure that we drive down costs in an unfree market way, right?
You don't
doing it from a regulated way.
You're not even denying.
Also make sure that the ratepayer goes to the savings.
So you will this drive down cost? You don't believe that this will drive down cost?
I've said multiple times it'll drive down costs. I'm saying it'll drive down costs for insurance companies.
I mean for consumers. I mean for consumers. You're saying this won't drive down costs for consumers.
Get a savings from this?
Yeah.
Anything we do when it relates to insurance will help get ratepayers some relief. I'm saying they deserve major relief if we're going to take away health care coverage.
Okay.
Because I mean, you look at like 94% of people in Michigan have health insurance now that we've passed the Affordable Care Act. Right? That's about the rate that we have. So a lot of people could coordinate their benefits, and they can help determine whether or not the health care coverage covers it or the auto covers it, depending on it. And in other states, it doesn't just automatically go to health care.
Yeah.
They fight back and forth.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there is a driver there that happens. I mean, health insurance companies aren't going to say, well, I'll just I'll just cover you because you got in a car accident. They fight back and forth with the auto insurer, right? So this is, I mean, it's not cut and dry, black and white. So I'm saying let's make sure we have a solution that helps everybody, right? I mean, if we're looking at the system, there's fraud in the system. There are people that, I mean, there's a lot of fraud. That alone would bring down costs. We could address fraud.
So why don't we have
there's a lot of things that could be done, but if you're going to ram things through that only benefit the insurance companies, hope that ratepayers get it, I'm not going to vote for it. And if other people think that's a good idea, that's fine. I don't care. I mean, you want to hope that your bills go down. You hope at the end of the year that your all your bills go down. I mean, hey, that may work.
Senator,
I don't think it works for most people, though.
Senator, let me ask you this. This is Sherman Mays.
Sure.
All right. And just in a simplistic way, let's say, like right now, a policy with everything you have to have costs $100 a month.
Sure.
And we'll say Senate Bill 1 passes, and then I decide to not buy the PIP through my auto insurance because I have a separate
healthcare.
Yeah. So wouldn't I be able to negotiate then with my insurance company and say, well, I'm not buying the fully loaded policy. I only need this much. So, instead of paying $100 a month, now I'm paying, let's say, $60 a month. So I do get a direct savings if I'm not buying everything that they're offering. It's like anything else, I think, or that's my understanding of it. So the direct savings would be in my pocket.
Well, this is what would happen, right? We're just making these numbers up, right?
Sure.
So it's a good thing to do. If they no longer have to cover anything on the PIP side, PIP's usually about 50% of your bill.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're no longer having to cover PIP, that means they're going to get a 50% savings in how much they have to pay out. Right. That's just basic math.
Right.
Right. You're suggesting that if you get from 100, maybe you'll get it down to 60. You can't negotiate with your insurance company. What you can do is you can call multiple insurance companies and hope that they give you a better rate. Right. And we have a competitive market now, and Dan mentioned how he's called before. It happens now, right?
Yeah.
The same thing would happen, but I'm saying if it's from 100 to 90 or 85 or 87, okay, sure, you got savings, and the insurance company's got $30-some per driver. Add that by the millions of drivers we have, they're going to do pretty well for themselves. I'm saying if you're going to say you no longer have to cover health care, and you have to hope that your health insurance coverage is able to cover it, and not have to fight between the auto insurer and make cases, which happens in other states.
I guess
but see it's what they're paying. It's the amount that they would be liable for in case of an accident. Sure, they would see the savings, but I'm seeing a savings because I'm not paying them $100 a month.
If they do that, he's suggesting that they don't necessarily have to do that, and that the market wouldn't necessarily work. That somebody who gives I'm not saying there won't be savings. I've never said there wouldn't. No, I'm not saying. You're saying that it won't necessarily be all the savings. So if you're saying if the price goes down $50, the example that you used was they're saving $50, and they give you $10 of that, then you go to a different insurance company who's going to want your business and is willing to take $30 for it, right? That won't work though. The market will stop working. We don't know. We'll see. You want to guarantee it.
Yeah.
Listen,
or you could put in place some measures to say that if
mandates,
like we're doing the other things, right?
Yep.
Other states have prior approval, meaning that they can't just raise your rate every year. They have to prove why they're raising your rate.
Yeah.
I think those things make sense. I think if you're actually going to try to save people money, that's the way you do it.
Okay.
Not everyone agrees with that. Maybe they just think that insurance companies are altruistic. I don't. So.
Nobody.
I'm more than willing to say
nobody is. Medical providers, trial lawyers, none of them are. They're going to try to make money.
What they make.
Yeah, and I think that and drivers are going to try and pay as low as they can. So, but listen, we've got to let you go. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for. Let me ask you, Les, just before you go, where does this go? What do you think happens with the governor?
Well, I think it's got to go to the House, and they're going to have to negotiate a plan. The governor has suggested that in the current form should veto it. I think we should solve this problem. I hope that we do, but if it's just going to be trying to be rammed through, then it probably won't be right now. We'll have to go back again. I think, this is not the same dynamic where 8 years we had a House Republican, a Senate that was Republican, and a governor that was Republican. And they couldn't get it done then.
Yeah,
so if
that's
they think
true.
they can just ram it through on a partisan basis, I think it's a mistake.
Do you think the governor?
There's ways to make sure people get savings.
Would the governor go for it if she got her 45-cent gas tax hike? Do you think?
I don't know. I think.
Do you support that, by the way? Do you support that tax hike?
I support a budget that makes sure we have money for roads, no question about it. Money for schools, yeah. I mean, whether or not that's the way we do it or not is up for debate. But I think we can. I think if you look at the roads of the last 30 years, they're crumbling, and we need to do something. And she put a plan forward. I haven't seen another one. We'll wait to see until we have another plan, but we'll negotiate.
Senator Ananich, thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Yep. And I think we're going to talk with Senator Tice next. Is this Senator Tice?
Hello there.
Hi there. Dan Foley, Flint's News Talk, 1470 WFNT.
I'm sorry.
Let me put you on hold. I'm going to put you on hold, and we're going to take a break. We'll be right back.